India as a nation was not born on August 15, 1947. India is a continuing civilization with a millennia-old continuity, more than a few thousand years of lived civilizational experience. The primary philosophical thought of India was all-inclusive, all-accepting. It was never exclusivist, and most importantly, it never negated the existence and validity of any other philosophical, spiritual, and religious thought. However, when this land and the philosophies that was born out of this land came in contact with Semitic Abrahamic faiths like Christianity and Islam, which inherently are exclusivist, which inherently are conflicting, predatory, and proselytizing, there needed to be a response by a non-exclusive, inclusive faith, which can be called the commonwealth of Hindu spiritual traditions. To therefore respond to the aggression, the predation, and proselytizing attempts by the Abrahamic faiths that came to Indian soil, a response was made by Indians, by Hindus of that time, and that in the later context was called Hindutva. We can therefore say that if Hinduism is the potential inclusivity of the commonwealth of indigenous thought, Hindutva can be a kinetic effect which primarily is to defend Hindutva, primarily to defend the Hindu philosophy against what is not inclusive, what is primarily exclusive.
So what is this?
Therefore,
what is the need for Hindutva now? What is the threat?
This is the philosophical underpinning of what Hindutva is. Therefore, without understanding the very nature of Hindutva and what it is trying to protect itself against, we will be misinterpreting and misrepresenting the whole debate. Therefore, in that sense, Hindutva is an intellectual, political, social response of the Hindus to prevent itself and themselves against aggression. Therefore, Hindutva cannot be dominating because Hindutva is the victim of aggression. This must be something that must be clarified at the very outset.
Fair enough.